orbital direction, like if we're going north to south, then we would have the Badlands, North Pole, South, or North Cap, South Cap, and I believe Southern Ice Shelf. I don't know if there's a Northern Ice Shelf, but it makes sense that there are. So going around, we have what I said, and going north to south, we have what I said. We have at least 10. I think they're 10 points each. That's 100 points. So we can review the data, and we'll keep that. And then see, 8. And we'll keep that. We don't need to transmit that because we don't have batteries or solar panels. But in the future, we'll just transmit anything that we get full credit for as we go. Now, we need to actually, while we're in orbit, go back to the Space Center. After you've done that, there's no reverting flight. Everything, that ship is, whatever happens to it will be permanent. So you had the revert flight button earlier where you could go back because you made a mistake. Once you return to the Space Center and leave him in orbit, there is no going back. So we have a mission here. It's Explore Kerbin. Okay? It's basically, we have enough gas in our tank, and we're going to bring him home now. You've left enough fuel. You have enough fuel left in your tanks to return from orbit. We want the deposit on those parts back. So return to Kerbin from orbit, and they don't just want me, they want the ship too. So if you think you're going to jump onto another ship and leave that one in space, it won't give you credit for it. Now, maybe that's changed, or they update and change things sometimes. So I'm going to look at available mission. All right, I'm going to show you where we are. This is us. We're Z, and we're in this nice little orbit. We're either approaching or just left our periapsis. So we have apoapsis and periapsis, and we could say apogee or perigee. All the terms are correct. Let me look where we're at exactly on my map now that I'm here. Looks like we're right on our periapsis of 85. So we put this in what we call retrograde. The opposite of retrograde is prograde. And then we can just drop that baby down to 85, somewhere in there. So we've got 84,343 and 85,308. So then you can actually accelerate time by pushing your forward arrow. And at this altitude, I think it lets you go up to 4 times. We'll go to there. Now we slow it back down. Now this is the big thing. If you can't accelerate and deaccelerate time, you're going to be sitting here for hours. Look, it's oh, it's not telling me yet, but I know it's 15 minutes here. It's a 30-minute, maybe 40-minute circumvention of the orbit. You know how much time it's going to take you? Anyway, while we're here, we have retrograde, and we're just going to lower our periapsis to 70. Oh, look what we've done. We've put it on 58. Oops. So let's flip it around till 70. Now we have a lot of gas. I would be checking. So that's 7612. Now let's accelerate our orbit. And I could be running myself out of electricity. No, I'm doing good on electricity. Now when we get over here, I'm going to use the greater than and less than signs. I'm going to go less than. Go boop, 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 boop. I had to hit it 4 times. And you see right now we're on prograde, not retrograde. So anyway, I'm on prograde, not retrograde. Anyway, I'm receiving a phone call, so let me just take this real quick. I'm not actually going to take it. I'm going to do a text. I'm recording now, but I can read your text. Alright, so I just fired him off that, and now he can respawn and I can look without disrupting my recording. So, what I'm trying to do is bring this down to 72 also, 70,000 also, with my retrograde button. See, 70, now we're at 69. So I'm going to do something, since I've just got both sides down to 70, I'm going to put this on about, let's say, 15. Alright, now I'm going to go back. And isn't this beautiful? Sometimes this is just a heck of a nice scenery. If you hit the F2 button, you can turn all this stuff off and just kind of enjoy the beauty. Enjoy it all, soak it all in. Now I believe I've collected everything. I've collected this, so we're going to basically dispense with this stuff and throw it in the trash. I could use it as a heat shield for a while until it gets hot and blow it up, or try to use this fuel that I have to control a pinpoint landing. Like, what's going to happen is, as we start to come down into atmosphere, the gravity is going to grab us. Right now we're in space at 70,000 feet, but we're just leaving space just now. See, we just left it. And what's going to happen is gravity is going to start, and it's going to start to decay the periapsis and the apoapsis, and then we're basically come at the mercy of it, and we're coming down. If I want to keep this gas, like, for example, I think the reason I would keep this gas is if I was flying over Kerbal Mountains. That's my local that's my home continent by my Kerbal Center, and there's a mountain range just to the 270 degrees off my runway. There's a mountain range. But if I was flying over Kerbal Mountains and I'm going to splash down in the ocean and I have a chance to give it gas and land right inside the Kerbal apron, it makes you feel like really awesome when you can do this pinpoint accurate landing. And I don't know, it seems like I'm always trying to set up to control my landing, and when I can do pinpoint landing, that's fine. Sometimes I'll put up a flag and see how close I can get to it. Anyway, so this game is kind of open-ended, meaning that you can set up interpersonal goals. You can also kind of role play with it a little bit, but that's outside of the game. You'd be doing that in your head. I mean, you think about these little guys like they're real, and you know, you imagine yourself to be the mission commander in charge of them, and then, I mean, you're kind of like, you're them, you're also their boss, you're also master of the universe in a way. But you are at the mercy of physics. Now, some games aren't edutainment simulation programming. They're fake and phony, like the jet fighter games that just try to make you feel really awesome, but if you get into a real plane, you'll probably die. Okay, this actually has accurate physics, and it's an accurate simulation, to where as if you build your airplane incorrectly, it won't fly, and if you run out of gas or do anything wrong, you'll crash it. It's easier to crash than it is to succeed or fly, and you learn a lot of stuff along the way. So right now we're just hoping we come down close to Kerbal. That's my goal. Now I can see a continent, I can see some mountains. Is that our continent? You know, flying in space, you never know. Now let's look at our apoapsis. See how we're at 13,000 now? So one thing I can do is gas this. And you can see I'm coming back now. I just kind of dropped it into the ocean. And what I've done is I've put the ocean drop and myself and Kerbal about halfway in between. And then I'm going to try to get a little closer. And I'm really high now. I'd like to be about 39,000 coming over these mountains. I mean, coming over this shoreline, but I'm at 59,000. So I hope I'm not messing up big time. There gets a point where it doesn't matter how hard you hammer it, you don't get any closer. So I'm going to start to do little hammers now. Okay, I can see it closing. And I don't know if it's closing too fast. Okay, I'm going to stop that. And then as I get over the mountains, I'm going to hammer it again. And what you can see we're doing is we're bringing down our speed, but we're doing it at too high of an altitude. So if we break too much speed off at too high of an altitude, then gravity grabs us again, and it increases our altitude. I think I'm just going to hammer my juice until it stops at this point. We run out of gas at too high of an altitude, and then gravity grabs us, and then we start increasing speed again. Let me show you, we're about ready to run out of gas. So see, all of a sudden we're going back up in speed. So we've got too much weight, so let's get rid of some. Bam. So, but we're still increasing in speed. So now what we're hoping is as we enter into the different stages of the atmosphere, that it gets a hold of us and reduces our speed like a parachute or resistance. We should be heating up. We're trading a speed for we're trading speed for altitude, and it's there's a price to pay, and the price here is called friction and heat. And that's basically the cost of trading off. Now, you can see our little Kerbal Space. Here's our space center right here. We're doing pretty good. I've already fired off my parachutes, but I'm going to click it again. Now, what we are is hoping that we don't speed. We aren't going too fast for our parachutes to safely launch, because they won't. At a certain speed, they'll just rip off our craft. So if we can't get to that speed by the time we reach altitude, we may just crash into the darn planet. If we were online, we would be coming in on land a little more close, but we weren't running a perfect 90 degree program. You can see we're 271 now. That's where our nose is pointed, which would be 89 degrees otherwise. Makes a big difference over a distance. So what are we looking for? We're looking for 5,800, correct? And it should open at 5,800. So what we did is we were not exceeding the speed of what was about under 300 meters per second. Over 300 meters per second, our parachutes wouldn't even go out. Oh, let's do something. That's a crew report. Just do a crew report. Over Kerbal shores, good. Now, I just did a focused observational of Provin's Gift. I just saw that thing pop up that said you are above Provin's Gift. This was one of our missions. We just made some money doing that. All we did was we took a crew report. We also saw that it's got us over the shores. So if we're over the shores, then we can do temperatures, pressure data. We must have already got that one. Kept it anyway. And I might even be able to get an EVA report. Oh, you're supposed to make sure your parachutes are open before you do that. Sorry. Like, you're supposed to visually see this upper canopy open. If it's not, you could fly right off the craft. Now, good thing is, I think in 1.6 or 1.7, we put personal parachutes on the Kerbals. So if you have no parachute, if your parachute fails, you're plummeting towards the ground, and if you have time, eject. You're not heavy enough. You'll start to just like a feather in our atmosphere, and you actually might not die. You just don't have to die. And say death is imminent. You don't have to. Just get out. Crashing is imminent. Death is when every last shred of your resources fails. Now, isn't this nice? Look how parallel we are to that. Had I done a better takeoff, we could be coming down right on it. But this is really cool. I've basically showed you how to hit Kerbin with real-time adjustments from a wrong altitude. If I debrief, my altitude was, what did I do right? I got parallel to it. What did I do wrong? I came in too high, too hot, too quick. I should have circumvented, taken time to set it up. Like I said, everything's real, raw. I'm on the challenge. I got to get it done for you, the watcher. All the little specifics don't matter. You're allowed to make real-time adjustments. That's what it's all about, actually, is just remember, it's like Hadfield says, he's an astronaut. He's a Canadian astronaut and test pilot and jet pilot. Astronaut, former space shuttle commander. He taught me an expression. He may not have made it up, but he's like, anytime you exercise a solution, remember, you can make it worse. So how do we get over that? We train, we mitigate risk, we prepare, we run simulations. We know what's going to happen when we implement that solution. We know we're going to fail sometimes. Now, I warned you of failure, but I knew we weren't going to. I just had to appoint the appropriate warning. And when you do this for the first time, you'll have fear of the unknown. So basically, I'm going to recover, and I'm going to actually stop this video here after I go through my button pushing, because I need a break, and this is a wonderful time to stop. We've just returned from near Kerbin orbit. We have 113. I'm going to show you what we need to get to the moon. That's a solar panel. Can't do it without it. Bam. That's all there is to it. You don't have a choice if you're going to the moon next. If you're not, you can do anything you want, and there's a lot of experience points just in this little area. I can show you how to milk this thing. Anyway, that would be another video. Just before we go, let's take our next mission, or acknowledge what it's taken for us. Explore the moon. Basically says do a flyby. I'm not sure how close we need to get. I always try to get within, 500,000 meters. Sometimes I'm within 50,000 meters. Just depends on my fuel and the craft I design. But that last craft, we had a whole lot of gas. We could probably make it to the moon by slapping a solar panel onto that craft and going with it. I'm pretty sure it would make it. It was a really good design, and maybe I just flew it well. I don't really know. So this is what happens. Okay, before I go, we've earned some money, so we're going to upgrade this. Bam. Just like that. Okay? And now we have 93 to build the craft. This will be our next upgrade. That's 150, so when we get back, we should be able to do it. So we have upgraded this. 1, 2, 3 buildings. This line down the middle is your first. We have, we got this one too. Now, if I wouldn't have done this one, I could do this one now. But anyway, we're just switching this for that, tit for tat. There's many ways to do this correctly. This is just one way, but this is efficiency, the correct steps to set you to the moon in a short number of missions. I think we've only run 5 missions, and we could have done it in 4 had I not made that mistake. And it didn't really set us behind. It just took more time. But at this point, I'm going to stop my video and say thank you for watching. And please pick up the next series. Our next series is flying by the moon, preparing for the landing, and landing on the moon. The next one should be shorter and only 3 missions than this series, part A. It'll be part B. It's all going to be part 1 of, I hope not 9. I hope 1 of 6. I want to do it 1 of 4, but I think I may already be 2 hours into it. But anyways, let's stop the video now. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.